Okay, today, guys, we are going to take a look at some imperialism cartoons. This is lesson 55. All right, the imperialism cartoons. And just want to take a look at first cartoon number 1. So a couple things here. Above it and below, so down here, this is the caption from the cartoon. It says, "School begins, Uncle Sam to his new class in civilization." Now, children, you've got to learn these lessons whether you want to or not, but just take a look at the class. So this is after the Spanish-American War, and if you remember from yesterday, we have accumulated the Philippines, Puerto Rico, and Cuba as territories, and now we are going to civilize them. That's the basic idea of the cartoon. So the poster above the Indian here, all right, and if you notice the Indian over here, he's reading, but if you look carefully, the book is upside down, all right? And on the outside looking in is a Chinese student. Remember, at this time, you still have the Chinese Exclusion Act, so Chinese immigrants are not allowed in. And right above his head is a little poster. And the poster on the wall says, "The Confederated States refused their consent to be governed, but the Union was preserved without their consent." All right? Because an argument against making these territories colonies was that we're not giving them the consent of the governed, right? The idea that they get to choose who they want to be their leaders. We are saying we're going to be your leaders, regardless of whether you believe it or not, as territories. So the Filipino people, the Hawaiian people, the Puerto Rican people, Cuban people, they don't really have a choice. That's not consent of the governed, all right? But this poster is saying, hey, the Confederated States during the Civil War, they refused their consent to be governed, but the Union was preserved without their consent. On his desk, there's a book. It says the first lessons in self-government here, all right? And then the blackboard. On the blackboard, it says the consent of the governed is a good thing in theory, but very rare in fact. England has governed her colonies whether they consented or not. By not waiting for their consent, she has greatly advanced the world's civilization. The U.S. must govern its new territories with or without their consent until they can govern themselves. Okay, so that's down here. And then you have a group of students, right? And they're all reading, and they're all, very well behaved. They're interested in what they're reading. And if you notice, they represent the different states that were accumulated as a result of the Mexican cession or annexation or purchase. You have Alaska, Texas, California, Arizona, New Mexico. So they've already been brought into the Union. And the last little detail, well, two details that are important. You have in the background here, this African-American student who's not being taught, right? He's on the outside looking in, and Uncle Sam as the teacher. So that's cartoon number 1. Cartoon number 2, all right? You have to take a look at this example as well. And I'll let you do this one on your own. If you have some confusion, remember to draw the cross on it, which I'll do right now for you. Remember, look at it in total first, and then take a look at each of the pieces of it, each corner of it, and think about this cartoon as another one. And then lastly, cartoon number 3, what the United States has fought for. You have these areas that are becoming territories and colonies: Philippines, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Cuba, and the Isthmus of Panama. The Spanish yoke, industrial slavery, Spanish oppression on their backs. I'll point something else out in a second. Before the United States intervened in behalf of these oppressed people. So this is the before on the top here, and this is the after, and look how much better off they're going to be if the United States control them. One last cool little thing here is, from American history, that eventually the United States is going to build the Panama Canal. And the Panama Canal would not have been built if not for medical advancements. The disease in the jungles of Panama, it killed 20,000 French in the 1890s when they first started to build the Panama Canal. So in order to build it, you had to have medicine that could do it. To protect people, all right? And that medicine was quinine, and there's a little bottle of quinine right here. And quinine, as of today, is being touted as a possible medicine to be used against the coronavirus. So that's where that comes from, all right? And then the last thing is your left-hand side. Remember to check the assignment on Schoology, but choose one of the cartoons and answer the following. What is the point of view concerning American imperialism? Does the cartoon support or oppose imperialism? And then you make a claim, support or oppose. Evidence, use a specific detail from the cartoon you chose, and then give your reasoning, your why, your because, and your explain. And remember, check the Schoology site for lesson 55, and you can present your answers a number of different ways, right? So if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to Ms. Greenberg or myself. All right, guys, good job. I'll talk to you on the next lesson.